Nuclear neighbours on the brink. India and Pakistan have fought 3 wars over Kashmir. Are they headed for another? Tensions and the risk of miscalculation are at an all-time high. Retaliatory attacks on Tuesday come 2 weeks after the worst terror attack in the contested region since 2019. We bring both sides together to debate just how dangerous this moment is. You're watching CounterPoints with me, Melinda Nusafora. Kashmir has been a geopolitical fault line for almost 80 years. But the tit-for-tat military action playing out there right now could send shockwaves well beyond its disputed borders. One miscalculation and it could all take off. The escalation started on April 22nd. Militants killed 26 Hindu tourists in Pahalgam in India-administered Kashmir. New Delhi has accused its neighbour of being behind the attack, something Islamabad vehemently denies. Then, on Tuesday night, India hit back. Airstrikes targeted 9 presumed terrorist sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. But Islamabad insists all those who were killed were civilians, including children. The communities are now more divided than ever.
We're happy that the deaths of the 26 people, including my son, have been avenged today. We're grateful to the Indian government. The government and the army have taken their revenge.
India has made a grave mistake by provoking Pakistan. This is no small matter. Let's see where this leads them. They may think they're in control, but this misstep will cost them dearly. India has now set itself on a path of destruction.
Both countries administer part of Kashmir but claim it in its entirety. So, is this simmering conflict the makings of a land grab, or is it more the flexing of regional muscle? Although the US has played mediator in the past, President Trump's America First domestic focus has some observers wondering how active it will be this time around. On this episode of CounterPoints, we'll debate if a major Pakistan-Indian war is imminent, what the ultimate objective is for each side, and where does the international community stand on the fighting. Well, to discuss the breakout in fighting between India and Pakistan, I'm joined by Fawad Chaudry, the Pakistani senator for Imran Khan's PTI party and a former federal minister, and by Lieutenant General Satish Dua, a former Indian chief of the Integrated Defence Staff and former commanding officer of Indian forces in Kashmir. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for being with us here on CounterPoints. So recently, in these
past... Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for being here. We have seen recently India retaliating with strikes on Pakistan and Pakistani-administered Kashmir in response to the April attack on Pahalgam. It was the deadliest incident targeting civilians in over 2 decades. Now, India holds Pakistan responsible and says its retaliatory hits targeted terror camps linked to the militant groups involved. Pakistan, however, says it was dozens of civilians that were killed in the strikes. We certainly get a sense that we're climbing up, perhaps dangerously, the escalation ladder. So, Lieutenant General Dua, let me begin with you. Are India and Pakistan on the brink of another major war?
Before I answer your question squarely, Melinda, you started, the key word that you used in your opening sentence is that India has made these strikes in retaliation. It is in retaliation to a deadly carnage, ghastly carnage at a tourist resort town of Pahalgam in Kashmir 2 weeks ago, on 22nd of April to be precise, where we lost 25 Indian nationals and 1 Nepalese national. Furthermore, men, and I choose my words carefully, men, not women, men were identified on the base of their religion, singled out and then killed, and women were told to go back and tell their story. Now and they were innocent tourists. They were not fighting soldiers. They were not fighting policemen. They were innocent tourists from all over the country. After that, in the last 2 weeks, there have been several diplomatic measures announced by the government of India, several other steps on economic front, diplomatic front, and political front, including suspension of Indus Water Treaty, that has actually held, despite 3.5 wars that both our countries have fought. The water has never been used as a leverage earlier. So the military response was announced by the Prime Minister, and he had said that we will not only get at the terrorists who perpetrated this ghastly crime, but we will also hit at the terror infrastructure. He used the word their backers, even if they're across the border. And in early hours of this morning, what actually happened is that there were strikes, multiple locations, all at the terror camps, terror headquarters, or their hubs. I can name them. We can get into that discussion later. But all the three major terrorist organizations that have bases in Pakistan that foment terror and violence in India, their headquarters have been hit in all these places, which is in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, as well as some of them are in the province of Punjab in Pakistan.
Bearing all that in mind, though, General, do you feel like this current escalation is bringing India and Pakistan closer to war, or do you think that this was a deterrent move and India is confident that this will be the end of it?
Yes, thank you for asking that, because I was just stepping into that part of the question. Now, the strikes have been at the terror hubs and non-escalatory in nature from our side. What I mean, I will elaborate on that. It is not targeted military installations, neither have we targeted civilians in that area. These are only the terrorist headquarters. So to that extent, the onus of escalation will rest with Pakistan.
Okay, well then let me ask you, Fawad, do you believe the onus of escalation rests with Pakistan? Because we have heard from the Pakistani authorities that they consider this an act of war.
See, this is the second since 2019 that India has unwarrantedly has tried to attack Pakistan. In 2019, they attacked, they were refuted, and they lost their one plane. This time, they have lost their 5 planes. The problem is not terrorism. The problem is the rise of Hindu extremism in India. Under Narendra Modi, when he was chief minister in Gujarat, more than 12,000 Muslims were slaughtered. In Manipur, Christians were slaughtered. This is actually the rise of Hindu Mahasabha in Hindustan, in India, that is now causing this whole, that has actually destabilized this whole region. As far as this, the Palgram is concerned, or Palgam is concerned, or before that Pulwama is concerned, I mean, these are allegations. After this Palgam, they asked 100 ambassadors to get to their South Block, which is their foreign ministry office. The ambassadors asked, where is the evidence? And you must have read in New York Times and then in Telegraph that India has failed to produce any evidence to this fact that Pakistan has any link with this Pelgam issue. So the problem is not that the terrorist act happens. It happens in Pakistan. We are facing terrorism on almost on daily basis. The Jafar Express, a Balochistan-bound train was abducted and dozens of people died, and everyone actually blamed India for that PLA is supported by India and they are doing this action, they are doing this act. But Pakistan never opted to attack India that blatantly. The problem is, between India and Pakistan, if you want to go to the genesis of the problem, that is that in 1947, when the partition happened, it happened on a principle. And the principle was that Muslim majority areas will be allowed to join Pakistan, or at least they will be allowed to vote, and the Hindu majority areas will be part of India. So the Kashmir is probably the only state that, despite being that it's a Muslim majority state, India has illegally occupied and sent their forces there, and that is the problem. Now what is happening in Kashmir is totally different, nothing linked with Pakistan. When you kill freedom fighters like Afzal Guru, like Wani, then expect a local lashback, and the kind of the authoritarianism that India is going through in general, and Kashmir in particular, expect these kind of reactions from the local population. And if you see this Pahalgam incident, you will see there is a very thick jungle around this kind of football field. There's a football field, kind of 3 or 4 football field area, and then it's surrounded by a thick jungle. How someone from outside the local area can even reach to that point? So everyone knows it's a local thing, nothing to do with Pakistan. But the problem is that to satisfy the extremists within India, Narendra Modi has to play some drama every day. Their politics is based on hate, like every extremist, in the world will do. He will play up with his constituency. Narendra Modi is doing the same, but he was responded in 2019. He is responded more fiercely this time. And if he wants to escalate this thing, Pakistan will fight.
Okay, let me ask you then, Lieutenant General Dua, is Hindu nationalism to blame? Is that the core issue here? And what evidence does India have that Pakistan was supporting these militant groups?
Let me talk about what evidence India has that Pakistan is supporting these groups. The groups themselves claim responsibility for various terror attacks, whether it was Pathankot or Uri or Pulwama. I am only
focused on
naming the major
Pahalgam
ones,
right now,
or Pahalgam. Sir, I did not interrupt when you were talking. Please
No,
allow me.
you
can talk.
My apologies.
That's okay with you. No. So, at every major terror attack and even smaller terror attacks, the groups have been claiming responsibility. And the headquarters of the group, the leaders of the group, are very openly and clearly based in Pakistan. Muridke is the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba. Hafiz Saeed is the leader. And he openly gives speeches, runs organizations, NGOs, charitable organizations, madrasas, masjids. So that is well known. No one can go away from that. Neither India nor Pakistan nor rest of the world. Similarly, Masood Azhar, leader of Jaish-e-Mohammed, his headquarters are in Bhavalpur in Punjab, one of the areas of strike. And I hear from the press that some of his family members have been killed in this strike. But the fact of the matter is, and over the last more than 3 decades, or touching 4 decades, Pakistan has used the border contiguity with the state of Kashmir and their religious affinity, the same religion, as a tool, as a leverage to foment trouble over here. It started in 1988 when the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan was over, and in the past 10 years before that, Pakistan, with the help of US, was training Mujahideen fighters to resist the Soviet occupation. Those fighters had just become free. They were fomenting trouble in Pakistan. That is the time they turned focus here. And then on, the rest, as they say, is history. We've had a series of, we've had a lot of terrorist violence here, aided, abetted, supported, trained by Pakistan. And I will give chance for him to speak, but let me also address this issue that he started off with, talking of Hindu nationalism or extremism. The present government is the BJP government, BJP is the political party. They have their larger base is Hindu based. Our country, India, the majority of the population is Hindu. But that does not take anything away from the fact that we have a large population, a large percentage is Muslim. We have Muslim, not only in Kashmir, as Mr. Fawad Chaudry said, it is also Hyderabad, Junagadh, you forgot. Those are the states who also did not go to Pakistan. So the point I'm trying to make, there is a large population of there's a large Muslim population in our country.
Okay.
And larger than their population. The point I'm trying to make that we've actually, by and large, lived in amity throughout. So it is not a Hindu-Muslim divide in our country. We can go back to the genesis. I can talk about the Punjab terrorism angle. We can keep expanding the discussion, but I want to restrict to what is happening today. And allow me last sentence. Proof of what has happened in Pahalgam. In fact, documentary proof of one of the terrorists, 4 terrorists, his name is Hashim Musa, is a former special forces soldier of Pakistan Army called the Special Services Group. So the proof of that they are complicit in this attack has been is on the table.
Okay.
We have shown some proof. Some more things will be provided.
Okay, Fawad, let me ask you: has Pakistan done enough to stamp out terrorist groups and militants that may be operating and forming within its borders?
You see, I have to start to respond to General Saab's comment with your permission. As you asked General Saab that what evidence you have of the Pahalgam, and you have seen that he has gone into the historical lecture on the history that how Pakistan has done that and that. You know, history is not an issue. We have a sitting Indian Army officer arrested in Balochistan, whose name is Kulbhushan Yadav, who was managing terrorist attacks in Balochistan. I mean, there has been Pakistan and India has this kind of animosity against each other, and there is no two opinions that there are groups, Indian groups, who are targeting Pakistan, and there are groups who have in the past targeted India also. But the fact is that both Hafiz Saeed and Azhar Masood has categorically denied any link with the Pahalgam. And you see, this is such a huge failure of Amit Shah, who is the Union Minister and the security head of India right now. And then Kashmir is under special law. You know, there is Article 370 imposed in Kashmir that allows federal government to actually take responsibility of law and order. This place, Pahalgam, is 200 kilometers away from the line of control. And these 4 people who have committed this atrocity, who have committed this act, are still at large. India has miserably failed to even arrest these 4 people, and you are blaming Pakistan for no reason, and only, you know, just to divert the criticism on Amit Shah and the security paradigm of union government. They have not only bypassed the whole Kashmir government. I mean, Omar Abdullah and his party is not even invited in CSS, the Cabinet Committee on Security, for these decisions. And everyone knows that the whole Kashmir leadership of Indian who has sympathy with Indian government, they do not agree with their narrative. So I mean, we have to be very serious. This is Pakistan and India are 2 atomic powers. We are not Bhutan, we are not Gaza also. If you will retaliate, Pakistan will retaliate. Pakistan will act swiftly, as we have done yesterday. So in the yesterday attacks, they have killed a 4-year-old boy. A woman has been killed. So these are the kind of the innocent civilian lives that they have attacked, and they are celebrating it. I mean, and rest assured that this extremism that Narendra Modi and his party is now kind of playing up in India will actually lead to more serious consequences for India. And it's not only about Muslims. Christians are also suffering in India. You see these events every day. So Pakistan right now, as far as now coming to your question, Pakistan has done enough. We all are prisoners of geography. Yes, there have been groups. USA, the whole West, they fought with Pakistan, the Arabs fought with us, and I think to some extent India was also a partner with the USA and others. And Pakistan has fought war against Soviet Union and then against Osama bin Laden. So those were the times, but the whole world participated in that. It's unfair to blame Pakistan for the war that the whole world took part in too. Then now suggesting that Pakistan has not done enough. I think Pakistan has done enough. Pakistan is ready to do more, and we offered joint investigation into the case, which India has refused. Why India has refused? Because India knows that Pakistan has no link with the incident, so they are trying to shy away.
General, as Fawad said there, Pakistan is threatening serious consequences against India for these strikes, which did kill civilians. Is India preparing for an escalation? Are they preparing for retaliation from Pakistan now?
Look, Melinda, Pakistan has already started their retaliation. Early this morning, there was an artillery duel across the line of control. We've already had 9 civilian casualties, including 1 woman and 2 children, on the line of control in the areas of Poonch and Chaudry. So they've started striking across. Now they do not have terrorist camps to strike across, so they are striking across the LOC, the line of control, and the LOC has heated up over the last 9 to 10 days, ever since just after this attack, when diplomatic and economic steps were announced by the Indian government. That has begun. Like I said earlier, it is on Pakistan now. The onus is on Pakistan to escalate. Yes, Indian resolve and Indian military is prepared to face anything, and it is not as of now, as of Pahalgam or as of this morning. Indian Army or Indian Armed Forces are prepared to meet any aggression on our borders, on the borders and internally, in internal situation. And I am sure we are capable of holding our own. We don't have to run to any another power, another country for equipment, for ammunition, for money. We can hold our own under these circumstances.
Fawad, both India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons. How dangerous do you think this moment in time is then?
Well, Melinda, our friend is a journal, and they are trained to take lives and give life. I'm a politician. I am trained to resolve issues. So my training is that how can we get out of the problem, and what can we do actually to kind of bring the situation in control. Escalation, and for me, the innocent lives in India also matters. For me, it's as sacred as the lives in Pakistan. Maybe the people in journal have other ideas, but for me, the lives, especially the innocent lives on both sides matter, and I really want to de-escalate things. But I think India should realize they will never be able to, as they say, that permanently resolve the issue. They claim that this attack will permanently resolve issue. Nothing can permanently resolve issue if you base solutions on hate, if you base solutions on wars, if you base solutions on fights. The only solutions that are based on mutual the protection of interest, the understanding of realities and the people wishes are permanent. So the primary thing is that when India will realize that it's so important to settle issue of Kashmir, everything that is going on in Kashmir is is locally generated. You will never be able to control a population only by stick, only by gun, only by using force. You have to involve them in the government, and you have to go by their wishes. And their wish is they don't want to be with India. And this issue has kept hostage this huge this region of, I think, 1.5 billion people. This population of 1.5 billion people. They are hostage to this issue, and India has to realize that unless they don't resolve this issue, nothing permanent can come to this region. Number one. Number two is that in a short term, I think India, this attack has happened. Pakistan has also retaliated. This is a time that when the international players should play a role and try to de-escalate things. I am happy that U.S. The Secretary Mark Rubio has spoken to Pakistani authorities. I think they are talking to Indian authorities also. And I think there shouldn't be any problem. We need to de-escalate. We need to actually respect each other's. First, we need to respect the lives of innocents. I mean, if you declare that an attack, and look, they have chosen mosques, and they attacked mosques everywhere, only to, kind of give message to their supporters, who was primarily Hindu Mahasabha, Hindu extremists, that look, we have targeted mosques in Pakistan.
Okay.
And you have killed innocent children. You have killed women. I mean, this is not the way India should behave. And I think I have no problem if de-escalation happens from here.
General, the targeting of mosques, the killing of civilians, was this a miscalculation that has escalated things outside of what India was anticipating?
No, we'll have to put things in correct perspective. Allow me to take his whatever Fawad said, point by point. For once, during this evening, in fact, not once, on two issues, I agree with him. The first is we respect the lives of civilians. That's what he said. Both sides of the border. We do too. When I said that for last 3.5 wars and over the last 7.5 decades, we, India, has never used water as a leverage, because water affects the common people of Pakistan and we have no enmity with them. In fact, 7.5 decades ago, we are the same people. We were the same people. My parents have come from district Miawali in Pakistan. I have linkages and I know people there. So I speak the language, Saraiki. That's not the point. I agree that we respect civilian lives. You also made a mention saying that General Saab or we in the army are trained to kill. Let me also clarify, those who are trained to kill actually value life more. We understand what is the value of life. We've been under those situations and circumstances. Right. The second thing I agree with him when you say, Fawad, that this issue cannot be resolved. I am not saying by this strike or by that terror strike or by our strike, the issue will be resolved tomorrow. Will not be. The idea is that we cannot let such acts go unpunished. Let's not continue to talk about when you said that mosques have been targeted to appease a Hindu population. Allow me to tell you that we have more Muslims in our country than your whole country. Also, if Masood Azhar actually runs a mosque and lives in a mosque, his headquarters in a mosque, that's the kind of thing that you have. We are targeting terror wherever it is harbored or located. If you look at similar thing is happening when you said you yourself spoke about Gaza. We are not Gaza. I agree, but wherever these things wherever they are located, we have to target them, and that's what was being done. And I agree the thing won't get resolved by this strike. We need to make sure that it is resolved by other means. When you said that the Kashmir is an issue that we need to resolve, yes, we need to resolve. And in the last 5 years, after Article 370 was diluted, you have seen the kind of development, peace and development that has been ushered in Kashmir. the kind of tourist flow that has come to Kashmir and people have loved it. This is the first time after Pahalgam incident that Kashmiri people, cutting across all divides, political or demographic, everyone has stood against terrorism and said enough is enough. This happened for the first time. I agree. It has never happened earlier, but people, their mindsets are turning. They don't want to follow the example of Pakistan, which is a state which is very low today economically, politically. Your party president is in jail. That's a different debate. I don't want to get into that.
Okay.
Because, and India, on the other hand, is an ascending power. This morning news has it that India has actually become the fourth largest economy. This happened this morning. So the youth in Kashmir know now which path to follow.
Okay, I want to move on and talk about the end game here, the resolution to it, as both of you gentlemen have alluded to. The renowned military theorist Karl von Clausewitz famously said that war is merely the continuation of policy by other means. India has launched attacks on Pakistan in response to the terror attack and suspended, as you mentioned there, General, the Indus Water Treaty too, putting Pakistan's water security at risk. So, Fawad, what do you see as the end game here? Is this India flexing its military muscle in the region, trying to prove that it lives up to its fourth largest economy now globally? Is it trying to be a superpower, or is this a land grab for Kashmir? What's the end game?
You see, I totally, I keep a close eye on Indian politics. The internal party rivalries. So I can tell you this has nothing to do with Kashmir, or this has nothing to do with a regional thing. This is everything to do with Narendra Modi's own politics. When I say that he's trying to appease the Hindu extremists who are, primarily, if you just look at, Janasab obviously will not agree with me, but very humbly I would say, that Narendra Modi in this war effort does not have the support of people of Kashmir. He has no support from the people of Punjab. Even South India is totally alienated. This is only a cow belt. The Hindi-speaking, the 5-6 states that actually create this kind of divisive politics for him, like Gujarat, UPCP, and Maharashtra, who actually he takes his political strength from these states, and divisive politics pay him these dividends in the politics. Now, I think the Narendra Modi is trying, he has obviously, the BJP itself is divided into two larger groups. So primarily the whole theme of his, aggression on Pakistan is to appease these extremist vote bank in his own constituency. Even in my view, that large part of India do not support him in this endeavor. So he is in order to appease his extremist supporters. He is now, trying to make these issues big. He has done it twice. He thought that he wants to become a bigger leader than Gandhi. This is his personal, I would say, personal ambition. And he thinks himself as a largest leader of India, who can actually undermine Nehru and Gandhi also. So this is the politics that BJP is playing, and that's why no majority Indian parties, majority in population does not support him in this endeavor. And as we already agreed, that these such things will never settle down anything. If you want to settle down issues, I think we can start from where Pervez Musharraf and Manmohan Singh actually left, where we tried to solve the issue of Kashmir, the 4 points that agreed between Manmohan Singh and General Pervez Musharraf. Those, in my view, can be a starting point to settle Kashmir. And once Kashmir is settled, then I'm among those Pakistanis who want to. I'm a Punjabi, and I want to have an open border with India, so I can go to Amritsar, I can go to Delhi, and people from those areas can come to Pakistan. I will always, and in Pakistan, there is a consensus that we should have good relationship with India. The problem is with the Hindu Mahasabha supporters that are not allowing India and Pakistan relation to be built up.
Okay, General, let me put that to you. Is this purely about Prime Minister Modi's politics?
Even if you had not asked me this question, I was going to talk about that now because I see Fawad Chaudry, you're making a case repeatedly about a narrative that you choose to believe and you want to talk about. You are talking incessantly about Modi as the leader. You have made up your mind to say that Modi is pandering to a Hindu sentiment. You are saying that parties are not with him. This is the strongest government we've had in decades. That means the party in power is the strongest. He has the public opinion. I mean, let's not go into our narratives, my country's narrative that are being played out in your country. I wanted to desist from this, but since you bring this in, you know, the most popular leader in Pakistan is in jail. Your leader, your party president, and the ex-prime
We
minister
have
is
our
in
own
jail,
problem.
Imran Khan. And the other oppositions are parties are putting on a tenuous coalition under the tutelage of Pakistan Army Chief, who might I dare add that from amongst I'm a military professional. From amongst the Pakistan Army chiefs that we have seen in the past, is one of the most lackluster army chief we've seen, and who is trying to take hold of being the custodian of the ideology of Islamist ideology. He is in a very bad place himself. So I think to detract attention from their domestic troubles, it is the Pakistan army chief who made a speech 4 or 5 days before the Pahalgam incident took place, speaking very clearly about how Hindus and Muslims are different, and we got a two-nation theory, reiterating the two-nation theory, talking about Kashmir being the jugular vein of Pakistan. How can somebody else's anatomy be your jugular vein? So he was clearly egging on the terrorists to do something, and that's why what has angered our country, that for the first time we have Hindu males were identified, were told to perform a certain religious ritual or seen the symbolism on their foreheads of arms. They were identified and killed. So that is the kind of low that they have got on to this time, and detract from their own problems, and they have plenty of them. I didn't want to go there because I didn't want to expand the discussion, but you repeatedly talk
All
about
right,
Hindu
Fawad,
nationalism and
respond
things
to
like
that. Fawad, does Pakistan have its own problems and it's just trying to make a distraction?
No, absolutely, no one can defend that. Pakistan has its own problems, and Pakistani politics is far from ideal. I mean, there's no two opinions about that. And actually, obviously, they can't defend what's going on in Pakistan in terms of politics. But you see, Pakistan's politics is I think focused on their internal things. It's internal issues. It is not like expanding to the other countries. The problem with Indian Prime Minister Modi's politics is that he is not remained internal. No? It has gone external. He cannot, kind of make Pakistan sacrificial goat for his own politics. This is the difference between Narendra Modi's politics and Pakistan's politics. And this is very vital. I believe that, in my view, this Hindu Mahasabha politics is a problem. And the majority of even Hindus, actually, when this debate of partition was going on, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah pointed this out to Jawaharlal Nehru that this will happen. And Jawaharlal Nehru said this will never happen. Majority of Hindus are secular. Don't worry, this will never happen. India will never be a Hindu state. But Narendra Modi and this Hindu Mahasabha has proved Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah right. And today we are, and India never thought that they will have this kind of extremist, politicians elected to rule India. In Pakistan, you will appreciate that whenever people were given a chance, they elected liberals or not so extremist leaders in the power. They always act, and actually, to be fair with Nawaz Sharif, Imran Khan, and Asif Zardari, all are liberal leaders. They all believe that we need to with India. They want a good, they are not militants. They are not they're not hardcore extremists or anything. They are very liberal people. So that's why Pakistani politics is very different from the recently developing Indian politics. Before that, obviously, Indian politics was totally different. But now I think it's totally internal issues of India that has now put 1.5 billion people into a jeopardy.
All right. General, what does winning look like for India?
I'm sorry, will you repeat your question?
Indeed. I asked, what does winning look like in this conflict? Does winning look like peace? Does winning look like taking control of Kashmir? Does winning look like finally having open, friendly diplomatic relations with Pakistan?
The end state, Melinda, what India wants is actually good relations with our neighbors. But to do that, our government has repeatedly said or followed a policy of not engaging unless you stop terror. And also, even the Indus Water Treaty, when it was suspended, it was held in abeyance, was the word used by the government. And it says, still Pakistan abjures terrorist violence. India has always said, we need to, India has always said that Pakistan needs to show proof to dismantle support to terrorism. Stop using terrorism as a matter of state policy and stop prosecuting proxy war in our country at the present moment in Jammu and Kashmir. So the point I'm trying to make, the notion of victory for us is not to have terrorism as a state policy being used by our neighbors, and we would like to sit and talk to them. We would like, for example, my co-panelist Fawad Chaudry mentioned that their leaders he took names of their leaders, Nawaz Sharif, Shahbaz Sharif, Imran Khan. My point is, in 1999, our Prime Minister Vajpayee actually traveled to Lahore by bus. We started this journey in February 1999. We did this. And while our Prime Minister was there, they were preparing. Already the people were moving into Kargil Heights. And after a couple of months, the Kargil conflict broke out in the open.
Okay.
In 2015, our Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister, I don't know, you seem to be obsessed with Modi and his Hinduism more than I do. But anyway, he actually went and made an unscheduled halt in Lahore. He went and met the then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He went to his home. He met his mother. I think it was his daughter's wedding or engagement or some function. Yeah. And he went there before Christmas.
Okay.
And when we came back, within 7 days, there was an attack at Pathankot Air Base. So you see, our country has actually, our leaders have made these overtures. I'm talking of physically going there, and that is the time they've been plotting terror, they've been plotting conflict. We want to sit down with them. Only stop terrorism.
Okay, Fawad, what's your response? I can see you want to respond there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually wanted to respond to that Indus Treaty because, the General has mentioned Indus Water Treaty many times. You see, this is another, I would say, a very ill-conceived action by Indian government. The water originates in China. What if China decides to, kind of stop this water from flowing to India and then to Pakistan? I mean, you don't do that. Upper riparian has some rights, but the lower riparian has some rights. So this water treaty, as you has rightly mentioned, has survived 3 wars. Water is a science, it's a geography. Water is flowing from the glaciers, passing through some of the Indian controlled territory and coming to Pakistan. But there are 6 rivers. We opted that 3 rivers water will be used by India, 3 water will be used by Pakistan. And we have survived like 80 years with this agreement, and this is going on. Right now, obviously, it's a symbolic act. India cannot obviously stop water. It's not like it's not like a shower that you or a tap you tap up or on. You need obviously years and years and billions of dollars to build the dams to even if you want to store the water. And if you do that, by that time, if China thought that it's a good idea to stop water even from going from their area to their area, there will be another crisis. So we should actually, I actually appreciate that you have mentioned that there have been in past there have been overtures to Pakistan. And Pakistani, likewise, I want to remind you that Pervez Musharraf, when come to Agra, and the 4 points on Kashmir was almost about right. It was Indian establishment that sabotaged that. So this is going on. This is happening. I totally agree with you. But this is how countries and mature countries can actually go further instead of targeting each other on military side. We need to negotiate. We need to sit down. We need to actually come up with the ways through which, and that's why Pakistan offered you investigation into Pahalgam that you have rejected. India should never have rejected that investigation. We should have actually formed the commission, and so in that commission we could have come up with the recommendations to stop these kind of incidents that you have mentioned.
Okay, General, you look like you want to respond.
Yes. Thank you, Melinda. Look, when I said that we have never used water over last 7 decades, water as a leverage, and since we do not have terrorists to send across, this time a statement is being made, and the statement, actually the full sentence reads that we hold it in abeyance till Pakistan abjures terrorist violence. If you read the full statement, the announcement was this. And because we have to use some leverage. We haven't used it earlier, but now we're sick and tired of it. We want to come onto the table when Pakistan abjures terrorist violence. We want to talk about it, and that's why it is being used. You are right, but it is not a tap that can be turned off tomorrow. But then why is the lower riparian so worried? What is your public sentiment? The day it was announced, your census crashed by 3,000 or 4,000 points. Happens because there are so many things beyond water. There is the data to be shared. There is observers are allowed to come and check some facilities and some parameters. Regulating the flow is a thing that matters. There are so many other things, and I don't want to get into that. You and I are not domain specialists, but there are other means. So I am not trying to say that we're going to actually stop the water today. We cannot, but it gives today, holding it in abeyance, gives India a right to start several projects that we have stopped. The Tulbul Naval Navigation Project. You, Fawad, are aware, the waters in Wooler, there was. So I won't get into that. My point is, we want to get to that. And we can only get to that once terrorist violence stops. If we continue to say, he said, I said, we are never going to get there.
Okay. Now,
we need to do this.
We've mentioned China there. China also claims control of a portion of Kashmir, and it has grown close to Pakistan in recent years, in part through Belt and Road Initiative investments. So, first of all, Fawad, let me ask you, do you feel as if this is to escalate, is Pakistan relying on China's support?
China has already made a statement, and they said that if any territorial adjustment is tried to be made, they will become a party to it. So China is very clear in that. So this has a potential actually to bring other countries in, and that's why I have always maintained that these skirmishes, these attacks are not going to end anything, not going to favor any party, and actually it will only complicate situation in this region, and also especially between the three countries, India, Pakistan, and China. And China becomes an integral party to the conflict if the conflict prolongs, because primarily the Indian emphasis or Indian military emphasis also is on the line of control, and that actually in the China strategy it turns into LAC, line of actual control. So this LOC and LAC, these are actually so close, I would say, and so closely linked with each other historically, politically, and even militarily, that you won't be able to control the full-fledged war. So that's so important that we realize this, and we try to minimize this conflict. And we need to start. And United Nations Secretary General has made a good offer. He has presented his good office that to start negotiations. I think India should accept Pakistan's offer of joint investigation, and in that investigation, we can add a TOR of investigating into or looking into the incidents to prevent the future incidents.
Okay.
That's the only way that in a short term we can go forward. In the long term, you have to settle the issue of Kashmir, because the problem is if the local population or the local groups do something, India is constrained to blame Pakistan for that, because they cannot afford to say that local population is doing that. Now, on one hand, they are ruling the Kashmir with the iron fist. When they retaliate, they say it's Pakistan who is doing that. This is not how you can go on. So you have to solve the issue, and this is the basic thing you need to understand.
Okay, Lieutenant General Dua, you look like you want to respond there.
Look, you started by saying that yes, Pakistan and China are together in this. We understand their friendship. In fact, if LOC and LAC are line of control and line of actual control for the other international viewers, if they are linked, it is only because Pakistan has in 1963 illegally ceded 5,100 square kilometers of an area called Shaksgam Valley to China. When that is our territory, and even if Pakistan has control over it, even by their admission and even by UN, it is still disputed territory, and they have ceded that to China. Well, that's okay. That's part of history now, and we have claims over that land. But Pakistan expects China to support them is a well-known thing, and India is prepared. We've had this problem with China 5 years ago on the on Eastern Ladakh. In Eastern Ladakh, we had a minor skirmish, and we both are facing, and we are trying to resolve this. And there we are actually resolving it by negotiations. We've had, I think, scores of rounds of talks at military level and diplomatic level, and we are resolving that issue. It's de-escalating there. So, if Pakistan obviously hopes for China to step in, whether you talk about Upper Riparian, you talk about China's threat to us, and India is prepared to meet the threats. That's about our military preparedness. But we don't want that we have to come to that. We are prepared to do it. I don't think Pakistan
General,
is. Pakistan
let me ask
looks
you,
for comfort.
We've heard
with
comments
other
from the
countries.
White House, General, where President Donald Trump doesn't really sound overly concerned. He doesn't sound as if the US is going to step in as a mediator here. Does India feel like it has support from the West, from its Western allies in the international community? Or is it feeling isolated?
No, I think India clearly has the support of majority of the countries, other than Turkey, China. Even Chinese statement is fairly moderated, though, if you read through the statement, read between the lines. But yes, I don't see other countries supporting. I mean, even after this, UAE has come out in support and told us that when Prime Minister Modi announced, he was giving a speech in a state of Bihar, which is a Hindi heartland, and he said, we will go after, not only after these terrorists who perpetrated this carnage, but we will also attack their backers, even if they're across the borders. We'll attack the ecosystem. He suddenly switched in English, speaking to an audience that does not know English. So he was actually speaking to the global audience. And then, after that, we are on record how many leaders have personally called Prime Minister Modi and said that they are with us. And that is the reason why we know for sure that world majority of the countries are with India on this is because, yes, I'm sure you'll get a chance to speak, because the world is losing its appetite for terror. Terror has spread across the world, the scourge of terrorism. Pakistan is facing it now, they know it themselves. So, world is losing appetite for terror, and they cannot support a country in which which is known as epicenter for terrorism. You spoke about fight against Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden, for God's sake, was actually found in your country, very close to your military academy. So, I mean, let's not go there, because we can that's a topic for another day.
Okay. Well, then let me ask Fawad. Does Pakistan feel like it's isolated then? Do you agree that countries have come out in support of India and their actions?
Actually, Melinda, this is the biggest blow to Prime Minister Modi. He actually considers himself like India has become an Israel of South Asia, and whatever they will say will be accepted as a gospel. The problem is that when he said that Pahalgam was done by Pakistan, so every country asked for the evidence, and they had no evidence. Then he went for escalation, and actually every country opposed this strategy, and that's why the Jaishankar, the foreign minister of India, day before yesterday, talking to European countries, said that you are acting like a preacher, and we don't need preacher. We need supporters or friends or partners. We don't need preachers. And he was very angry on European countries. Even J.D. Vance, who was in India at the time when the Pahalgam happened, did not actually support Indian position, and he asked that he don't want US don't want escalation. So I think at the moment India is fairly isolated. Both USA and the West have not actually supported Indian position as yet, and I think right now Saudi Arabia, UAE, who has considerable influence on Narendra Modi government also because of the investment promises they have made, they are also not really keen for him to escalate the situation. What he thought, the kind of overwhelming support he will get from the world, and especially from USA, is not there. So I think it's quite a blow to his position.
We're almost out of time, and General, I know that you are almost out of time. You have other pressing engagements, so just very briefly respond to what Fawad has said, and then we'll wrap up.
I think if I don't know what narrative Fawad is believing. We should only look at the statements. They are out in the open. They are not a matter of perception. They are in black and white. And if you continue to live in that illusion that other countries are not supporting India and they are actually supporting Pakistan, please live in that illusion. I have nothing to say. Let's agree to disagree, and only time will tell. Thank you very much, everyone.
Gentlemen, we appreciate your time here on Counterpoints. We have been speaking to Fawad Chaudry, the Pakistani senator for Imran Khan's PTI party and a former federal minister, and Lieutenant General Satish Dua, a former Indian chief of the Integrated Defence Staff and former commanding officer of Indian forces in Kashmir. Gentlemen, thank you for being here on Counterpoints. And thanks to you at home for joining us. You can, of course, catch all our Counterpoints debates by subscribing to the Al Arabiya English channel on YouTube and following us on X and TikTok. I'm Melinda Nusafora. We'll see you next time.